Okay, all right. So welcome to the Department of Environmental Health new student registration information. I was hoping to give this to you so that you can get started for registration and learn a little bit more about classes and the curriculum and the department. And we are opening up registration starting on Monday. So this hopefully will help guide you through the process and give you more information, and I'll let you know what we're going to talk about today. So I guess I should back up and say congratulations again and welcome to Rollins, and we're really excited to see you guys in the fall. I'm looking forward to getting to know each and every one of you, and I know August will be here before we know it when you're joining us on campus. So I'm really glad to have you guys here. So I'm going to talk about the curriculum, the course schedules, registration process, and I really appreciated some of the feedback that you guys gave me as far as what else you wanted to hear about. So I'll talk a little bit about jobs, involvement, opportunities, and then we'll have time for questions. So I think it'd be best if you just hold off your questions till the end, and then that way I can go through all of them and answer them, and hopefully I'll give you all information as we go through. Okay, so a little bit about semantics here at Rollins. Once you get here in an orientation, or you probably already have gotten this, but there's so many acronyms for everything. And to get things clear about where we're at, I'll start right here with environmental health. So our department is called the Department of Environmental Health, and there are three master's programs that are administered by us. Environmental Health MPH, Global Environmental Health MPH, and Environmental Health Epidemiology MSPH. And a lot of people say, I'm in the Global Environmental Health Department, or I'm calling about, the MPH program. And I was like, okay, and I always want to make sure you're calling for the Department of Environmental Health. And then also when people ask you what department you're in, you'll say environmental health. So a lot of times when we say, EH students, we're referring to you as a group. And then the program that you are in are one of the three programs listed below. So we're a department, and then we have programs. And a lot of times you're just referred to as EH because you all fall under the environmental health umbrella. And people also have asked me, why do we have global environmental health and environmental health epidemiology under our department? And it really started out, some historical information is just that global health and epidemiology are really large programs, and they don't necessarily focus on environmental health topics. So this way, these other programs that are more specific with the environmental health topics, we get you all together so that you have the EH common thread. So you'll be attending a lot of your classes together. The cohort between all three of the programs right now is about 45 students total coming into our department, which we're excited about. And we look forward to getting to see you and getting to know each other. So that is an orientation. You'll hopefully see everybody who's part of the department in August. All right, so I'm the ADAP, which is known as the Associate Director of Academic Programs, and there's one or two of us in every department, and we are your academic advisor. We help you get through the program. As you know, we've been part of the admissions process, and we've also will be in touch with you beyond the program as alumni. And so we really are your point people for at least helping to guide you through the program. And also can help field questions and know where your resources are, so that if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you who does. In addition, the nice thing is that you will get a Department of Environmental Health faculty member, and they will be assigned to you as your faculty advisor. So I have asked, well, I'll come to it, it's probably on this slide somewhere, asked for you to fill out an information form so that we know more about your interests, and that will help us match you with your EH faculty advisor, who we will announce to you either right before orientation or at the department session during orientation. So we often don't make those matches and confirm them until a little bit closer to the start of the semester. Also in our department, we connect you with a second-year student mentor. So our second-year students have the option to be mentors to you, and we also help to connect you that way with a student who has a common interest and or something similar, but just the foundation of the fact that you're all in the Department of Environmental Health is also helpful, and they'll be introduced to you toward the start of the school year, and we'll have some socials around you and your second-year mentor getting to know each other. Also, Career Services has a formal mentoring program that you can sign up for in the fall, and they'll let you know more about that at orientation. And to help us make your matches, this is what I was referring to, is that I sent out an interest survey, which asks about your interests and things like that. That helps us to make the matches with your EH faculty advisor and your second-year mentor. I'm really excited to say that a lot of you have responded to this. So if you have not yet responded to this, here's the link in this presentation, and I can resend it to you guys. And then, as I said, I don't know if it goes live on a webinar. I think we might be able to attach the slides so you can use all these hyperlinks, but this should be in a format where we'd be able to connect you directly to all these hyperlinks that I'll be referring to in this presentation. So now we'll jump a little bit into the curriculum overview for what's going to guide you for registration starting on Monday. Okay, so each of our programs have their own specific curriculum. So we have one specifically for environmental health, one specifically for global environmental health, and one specifically for environmental health epidemiology. All of these are going to be available. I did add them in the handout section of this presentation, so you can get them and look at them directly as we're going through the presentation, and or they're also linked on our website under each of the programs. And links to that, you just look up environmental health curriculum and you should hopefully find it. The one thing is to make sure that you're looking at the current year. So every year and every cohort has their own curriculum sheet. As of right now, we think they're pretty final, but we will give you the final version at orientation. And if we ever make edits after that, we will definitely let you know. But as of now, we don't foresee any changes from what is already posted. So if you look at the curriculum sheets, the very top section has, it's divided up by core courses, and then the next section is program required classes. So the core courses are all of the foundation level classes that we have in each of our other departments. So you're going to take a 500 level of biostatistics, epidemiology, behavioral sciences, health education, health policy management, global health 500. And those who are in GEH will be taking GH 501 instead of GH 500. So that's on the top of your particular core class section on your curriculum sheet. And then next section is the program required courses. And this is where it gets even a little bit more variable between the three programs. But examples that most of you will be taking, but depending on your curriculum sheet, are these are foundation classes in our department, Introduction to Environmental Health, Toxicology, Foundations of Exposure Science, Policy and Practice. So that's just some examples of program required classes. And then everybody is required to do a thesis or a capstone and a practicum, which I know practicum is probably more on your mind now. So I'll talk about that a little bit more, and thesis and capstone I'm not going to touch on in this presentation, but just so you know what's required. So general course guidance is that there are so many resources to help you through this process, not only now, but into the future and all the semesters. So every semester, so this is kind of like my first registration session with you, and every semester I will be having one of these before registration opens. And then also I'll be doing one-on-one advising for every semester starting for spring. So we usually do course registration for spring in October, and I'll be doing advising before you know it for your next semester already, and then it just kind of happens like that cycle. So in March, we'll be doing it for fall, and of course, I'm here to answer your questions throughout. But you have a lot of resources already available to you. So you have course descriptions and sample syllabi, courses taken outside of Rollins might require instructor's permission. And then also there will be more room for electives as you move through the program, which we'll discuss a little bit further. Just so you know that one thing that's really neat about Emery and Rollins is that you can take classes anywhere across the campus. So you don't have to just take them at Rollins. So as you move through the program, things open up and you can explore a little bit further. If another department might offer a class that you might want to get, you are welcome to take it if it fits in your schedule and if it works out for that semester. In addition, just so you know, you could take things not only at Emery, but also outside of Emery. And that's something that can be possible starting your second semester, which we'll talk about before spring registration. So for this coming fall, what you'll be registering for, and all of this guidance is in the new admitted student portal. And this is just me walking you through all the things that are in the portal. So all of you will be taking EH-501, which is our Introduction to Environmental Health. It's a half of a semester seminar specifically designed for you all to get to know the department and get to know faculty. I believe it's 1 credit pass fail. I'm going to double check that as I'm talking to you guys. This is actually a fairly new class for us. So yeah, we now have a solid course number. We had it as a temporary course number this past year, but it's a new class that we have we realized that, you take foundation classes in all the other departments and you didn't really have one to our department. So we created this really nice introduction to EH. It's, as I said, a 1-hour seminar for about half a semester and a pass-fail grading basis. So that's a great way for you guys to get to know each other. And it was well received last year. And then all of you will be taking Biostatistics 500. This is a class that you're already registered for. So you're registered for the class and lab. If you happen to log into Opus on Monday and you don't see this class on your schedule, please let me know as soon as you can, and then I will enroll you in the class. So that's permission only. And also you're not able to swap the sections of this class because it's really been set up where every department and every program has their own specific class and lab. So most of you are going to be in the same class and lab together for BIOS 500. Across the school, we have a pretty hard, fast rule saying that you cannot change the class or the lab time. So that what you are enrolled in is what you will be enrolled in. Unless you are a part-time student, then there's some flexibility with that. If you're going to take it another semester or some other situation is present for you, but full-time students are set. EPI 530 is our epidemiology methods class foundation. You have the option to choose whatever class and section class and lab section are available to you. EH-EPIs are already registered because there is one section that's specific to the EPI students, and so you'll be taking the class with them, with Mike Goodman. The lab times are pretty tight, so it says you may swap lab times if there's an opening. If you need help with that and you really need to swap them out, let me know and I can help you. Otherwise, you can try and do it, which might be tricky. Sometimes it's tricky just to swap the lab without dropping the class and if it gets filled up. So I can help you with that if you need it. And then EH-520 is human toxicology, our foundation class for the department. Most of our students are going to be taking that in the first fall. And then other possibilities are maybe another core class and or an elective. I do think it's exciting to think about taking electives as early as your first semester. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that might look like. GEH students are also going to take GEH 501 this first fall. And then also EH-EPI students are also going to take EPI 533 programming and SAS. So let me know if you have any trouble registering for your required classes, and especially if they're recommended or required for this particular fall. So that would be the first time to contact me during registration if you're trying to get into one of these requirements for the fall. Going back to the course sequence page on the curriculum, if you look at the third page of the curriculum, it shows you a sequence of exactly what you should be taking every semester. And there are some flexibility. There's some flexibility in what you do take each semester, but the first semester is probably one of the more set semesters. So I will let you know where there is a little bit of flexibility. So I do want you to consider electives. It may or may not happen for all of you this fall, depending on what program you're in, how many classes you're taking. I will say that EH, as you saw through that list, has less number of classes, and GEH and EH-EPI have a higher number of classes this first fall. So there is still a tiny bit of wiggle room to consider electives. So if there's something that you know that you want to get started in immediately as far as an elective, one place that you have some flexibility is EH-520 toxicology. So I know some people specifically who are like trying to get like the WASH certificate or something like that. There are a couple WASH related classes starting in the fall, and some people might choose to move toxicology to year 2. But I really would say that depends on your interest, background, and need or desire to take an elective this fall. So most of you will be taking toxicology, but that is where you might have some flexibility. Also, any class that's not required and is a 500 level or higher will count toward your elective pool. So the curriculum sheets have some suggested electives, but basically most every class you would choose to take at Rollins will count toward an elective. So some of the program sheets say, must take, like GEH says, must take like 6 credits from the list of electives. But most of our students will, for example, take Biostatistics 501 in the spring semester, and right there, that's 4 credits toward your list of electives. So don't worry too much about the number of credits of electives that you're taking. I promise you will satisfy that requirement for your electives. 42 credits are required for the MPH and 48 for the MSPH, so that's something to consider as you're registering each semester. And we'll talk about how many credits to register for. Okay, so a little bit about our fall electives that are coming up this fall. I was just going to mention them so you're aware and you might want to consider them. EH 543 is sustainability. It is a 1-credit seminar type class. It is taught by Keena Howitt, who is the director of the Office of Sustainability or Office of Sustainability Initiatives at Emery. And it's 1 credit pass fail, and people really enjoy that if you're interested in sustainability. There will be a lot of campus resources as well as Atlanta. She has a lot of guest speakers come in, and that's one to consider. EH 580 is injury prevention, which is great for people who are interested in occupational health and safety. Environmental occupational epidemiology students are often interested in this class. EH students are often interested in this class, and it is also cross-listed with the Behavioral Sciences and Health Education department. So there are some interdisciplinary students who take this class. EH 581 is Public Health Consequences of Disasters. So if you're interested in disaster management and how it relates to public health, that is a great class that also brings in a lot of experts from the field. People from CDC tend to come in and talk. There is a disaster center at CDC, and this is an adjunct instructor who works at CDC who will be teaching this class. EH 582 is Global Climate Change, Health Impacts and Response. So if you're interested in global climate change, this is a great opportunity to learn about it in your first semester. I will have a little disclaimer right now is that we do have this class listed as TBA for the instructor, and so we're still trying to work out some logistics with the instructor for this. I do think it still will be taught. So even though the instructor is not listed, there is a time and a day, so you can still register for it. And if for some reason we have to cancel it, then we will, of course, let you know, and then you'd be able to choose another elective as we get closer to fall. EH 584 is a Built Environment and Public Health class. This is for people who are interested in the built environment and how this works around public health perspective. This is a unique class because it's offered jointly with Georgia Tech and our department. And half the class is located at Emery and half the class is located at the Georgia Tech campus downtown, which is about 20 to 30 minutes from here. So half the class is also comprised of people from built environment and community-based perspective with urban planning at Georgia Tech. This class does have some commute time, and there are carpooling capabilities, and there is a shuttle. So people do work out the logistics of getting there, but if this is something you're interested in, I can also say it's a good class to consider for year 2 because GIS is required. Geographical Information Systems, the software to learn about mapping. So if you don't have that as a prerequisite, you can take GIS, which is Info 530, the next class, and that's offered every semester. And you can get that as a prerequisite, maybe even consider taking it in the spring. If you're interested in going further into GIS-related coursework, it is a prerequisite for a couple other classes in addition to the built environment. And then finally, a popular elective is GH 529, Water and Sanitation in Developing Countries. So this is probably the elective that several of you might be interested in and know that you're already interested in it for this fall. You might want it, that's where, either taking it in addition to or instead of another class of toxicology specifically, if that's a class that you want to take this fall. All right, so course descriptions are found, course catalog is online, the department course webpage, and these are links to them. Course evaluations do exist. If students gave us a 66% response rate from the attendees, you will be able to see the course evaluations online. Asking fellow students, chatting on your Facebook groups for second years, asking me, asking faculty their opinions about classes. And also, I do have access to syllabi for all these classes. All of the EH department classes are listed on the website and have a sample syllabus attached to them. So if you're looking specifically for EH syllabi and descriptions, those are easy to find. Just look them up on the department course webpage. Okay, so if you're looking at the required classes specifically, and you feel like you've already taken a similar class in the past, then it is possible to submit a course petition to try and get out of having to take that class here. So you can read, actually, I think just today we requested some more guidance about submitting course petitions, but basically the process is that you'll be submitting a packet to me per class that you would like to try and waive. So you'll complete a course petition form. You'll include a course syllabus from the class that you've already taken. Let me know what semester and year you took the course. I also need a copy of the unofficial transcript with the course circled or highlighted so that we would know exactly what grade that you received. And then some courses that you're trying to waive require additional information, and I can provide that. So as I said, as of this morning, we requested some more information to be posted up on the admitted student portal under the registration area to guide you a little bit more through this. And if it's not there and you know that you want to do a course petition, just email me and I can email you the guidance directly. Okay, registration basics. So important dates, mark your calendars. So Monday, June 18th at 9 a.m. opens for registration, and there are online instructions about how to do that. I would go ahead and make sure you understand how to enroll, check out the instructions. We just got an upgrade as of last week. It finally opened on Wednesday for us to look at it and get everything set. And you might just want to poke around and make sure you can get in there and look at your classes. You might even be able to build your shopping carts. I think that should still be open for you. If you do not log in on June 18th at 9 a.m., it's okay, because registration is open all the way through July 13th. So you have a month to figure out the system and to, change your ideas about electives. As I said, this fall semester is probably the least variable semester that you'll have for registering. It's pretty straightforward based on the requirements that I just went over. So you do have all this time to adjust your schedule, or for people who aren't hearing this until July 13th, you still have until 5 p.m. to fill out your registration. And again, if you're required to get in a class and it's full, please let me know and I will help you get in the class. Drop add swap is your next opportunity to change your schedule, which is August 29th through September 5th. Rollins, or I guess Emery, allows everybody to go to one class every class one time. So unfortunately, it's very short because you only get to go to every class one time. So you get to try it out, see what you think, and adjust your schedule during that week, and that happens every semester, as you're probably used to in your other classes. Okay, so you're going to enroll yourself in Opus. I can help you. The new student portal, the admitted student portal, is where you're really going to get all this information. So it's going to walk you through it. After we hang up from here, you'll just click through and follow it pretty easy. Also, Enrollment Services webpage has a lot of information as far as schedules, catalogs, and calendars. So I'm actually going to try and click over to that because I really want to show you that this is this great tool for, in addition to the portal, this is where I go for all of my information. And this is where all this, and I'm going to show you what lives over here. So the Enrollment Services webpage is from Rollins. Okay. So basically, if you go to the Rollins webpage, you go under here, under Student Life, and you click on Student Life, and then it goes to enrollment. So this little icon in the middle. And this page is fantastic for registration. So the nice things about it is you can either access it through this icon on the right or over here on the left sidebar. So you can look at fall internal schedule, which is all of the classes in a nice viewable format that Rollins offers. So this is, I think, much easier to look at than Opus because you can browse, you can look and see what other departments are offering, and you can look at lab times for, let's say, epidemiology. So you have a nice little hyperlink. So let's say you're looking up your EPI 530 class. You come up here, click to EPI 530. And the nice thing about this is it gives you all sorts of special notes or things that you might want to know that may not be obvious in Opus. So for EPI 530, so we're under the EPI section here, and you go down to 530, and it looks like there's one class. It says Group A lecture, students outside of Rollins, but you don't have to read the rest of that because you're going to be in Rollins. And it says this is Group A. So, So Group A then will match one of these labs below Group A. Must be enrolled in Group A lecture. So actually, hold on. Okay, so and then you scroll down, and then you see there's another class, and it says Group B. So then you have to find a lab that's in Group B. So when you're in Opus trying to register for your labs for EPI or another class, if it says something is full, that's probably referring to the lab section. And so you'll have to keep clicking or seeing what labs are available. If it's showing, it's kind of tricky when you're doing the class and the lab because it's on the same line. But you should be able to see if you get error messages or if you don't see a class, that probably means it's full. So you'll just have to keep finding another combination that works for your schedule. So when they have labs, it's a little bit more tricky than the other classes. And then the section C is for all of our students who are, actually it was section B, that was for EH-EPI, GLEPI students only. So that's a class that you will not be able to enroll in if you're EH and GEH. All right. So the other thing that's cool about this enrollment services site is that we have all of our catalogs. The course catalog is here, which also has more information for you about all of the class descriptions. So it is, this says catalog. So here we go. Yep. So there's the course catalog. You can open that up. It's a PDF. And then also we have all of our schedules. So here is the fall, let's see, the academic calendar. So this gives you all the dates for the semester, for every semester, for the next year. So we have, I think, yep, spring's already on here. So you can see when all the breaks are. And then if you want to compare it or ask any other questions about when other things are, if they're not on here, you can look at the full university calendar. but these are all the special dates that pertain to Rollins. And so there's some university-wide dates, and then there's also some Rollins-specific dates in here. So that's a really great resource to bookmark as well. Okay, so moving on, let's see, I think I covered all that. Yep, so moving on, just to let you know that Rollins does function on a flat rate tuition structure, which means that minimum enrollment for all full-time students is 9 credits, and you can take a max of about 16 credits. So that is variable on the upward side, but the minimum is 9 no matter what, and that's every semester. You do not register in the summer, so this is only when you're in classes in fall and spring. If any of you are part-time, then it's less than 9 credits, and then you'll pay per credit, and that's a different structure, and you have to let us know that you're going part-time. And then just to let you know that you always want to make sure you're at 9 because it could impact financial aid. Okay, so how many credits should you enroll in if you have such a large variable between variation between 9 and 16? So really, every semester, follow your suggested sequence. You're going to have more time for electives in your second year. We really want you to take most of your foundation classes in year 1. So you want to also consider your non-class activities like work and your commute time, and how long does it take for you to, how much are you doing outside of the classroom? And also, how long have you been out of school? Maybe if you're coming from Peace Corps or you've been working for a couple of years, maybe you're not so up to speed on studying and writing and all of that. So I would do be a little bit more conservative. Your general comfort level, what you're, how comfortable you are with a large amount of coursework. And then also you can always reassess this during the first week of class during job ad. So that's why I want you to go to all of your classes, check it out, map out your assignments and see how heavy something might feel, or if you feel like you can handle it, you can adjust things again then. Okay, so reminders and opportunities. This came a lot from your questions of what you wanted me to cover. So some of this I will touch on. I won't necessarily go through all of this in depth because I really wanted this to be a registration seminar. And so we will get through some of your questions here. So these are a couple of reminders that are posted on the portal under the EH department, under your specific department, sorry, now I'm messing up the semantics, under your specific program's registration link. So a reminder that our department asks for you to do city training, which is related to IRB, which is for human subjects research. Just so you all get a little bit familiar what is human subjects research, and it takes a couple hours to get through the training, and we really want you to do this before you get here so that you don't have to think about it when you're here, because you're not going to want to sit down and do an online training course when you're here. So hopefully you'll have some time in the summer. If you don't do it by orientation, it's okay, but we really prefer and recommend that everybody do it before they get here. It just makes more sense. Recommended reading from a department that came from some of our faculty. You can, if you want to get jumping in and get on the EH mindset before you get here. A lot of I think some of the books that are on there are related to some of our partners who have either written them or they're involved with what the books are. Also, there's an OPUS checklist, so make sure you're checking your OPUS to-do list. And I keep referring to the new student portal, admitted student portal. That is where you're really going to have all of your resources. So, and I'm sure most of you have been in there several times. The other thing is we have a couple Facebook pages I wanted to mention. We have a department Facebook page that is kind of about news and updates from our department. And then also we have a EH Department Class of 2020 page that we set up for you, that we have some second year ambassadors who are helping me to moderate that page. And after this webinar and or anytime, I think it'd be really great if we can start engaging on that Facebook page a little bit more so that all participants and incoming class can hear all the questions that you might have, because I'm sure everybody has the same questions, and or you can learn from each other that way and kind of get to know each other. So I would like to see that being used a little bit more. Of course, I'm always here to answer emails, but there's every once in a while there's an email. I'm like, hey, that should be on the Facebook page. So I might be taking some of your questions and reposting and saying, hey, here's something interesting to think about. So you guys can use that throughout your time here and we hope that you do. Okay, so other items. We got some questions about jobs and practicum opportunities and what happens whether you have real funding or you don't have real funding, which ties also in with fellowships and additional money for tuition. Talk a little bit about student organizations and certificate programs. So for jobs and program opportunity, or jobs and practicum opportunities, the way I define this, and I'll talk a lot more about this at orientation, but most of our students are working while they're here. So whether or not you've received real funding, the Rollins Earn and Learn funding through your financial aid application, some people are getting part of their jobs paid for through that system, but other people who don't receive Rollins Earn and Learn funding are still finding jobs. And it is looking for a job, whether or not you have real funding or not, is essentially the same. So Career Services has a system set up for databases for opportunities that all current students should be able to search. I don't know if that's open to you guys or not yet. That's managed through Career Services, and you'll hear more about that from them. You'll hear a lot about that from them during orientation. Looking for jobs is also, it's going to be like any other job search. So networking, talking to faculty, looking on websites of places that you're interested in. On our web page, oh yeah, I wanted to bring this to you. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Sorry guys, I'm going to pull up my website here. I want to show you something. And my light just went off. Okay, so if you go to the Department of Environmental Health, if you go over here on this little icon here where it says interest areas, I love this section. And this is going to be in a booklet that we're going to hand you at orientation too. But this gives you a lot of resources for specific interest areas that seem to be pretty popular in our department. Air pollution, climate change, infectious disease, pesticides, water, sanitation, hygiene, or WASH, and food. So if you click on one of these sections, we have really branched this out to give you some examples of research, examples of related courses, capstones, and opportunities, organizations, and resources. So these are great places to just click on and say, okay, I'm interested in food. What's going on in Atlanta or other places? And this might be a really great place to look for some job opportunities and go contact these places directly. So basically, job searching is going to be something that you will be doing on your own with our help and a lot of guidance. But it's going to be the same process whether or not you're a student or you're looking for any other kind of opportunity. So you're going to have to work on that. But I guarantee if you want a job, you will find something. After your first semester, you could start the practicum experience. So right now in the first semester is just considered a job. The second semester and beyond possibly could be counting toward your practicum. And we'll talk more about practicum opportunities and things like that as we move through the first semester. Fellowships, I will have, this is more for people wanting maybe some grants or some tuition assistance in addition to their financial aid packages. I do have some resources every once in a while that come across my desk, and I have a summary sheet that I've put together. Soon I'll be adding you to my Canvas page for the department Canvas page, and that will have, there's a fellowship or scholarship or an opportunity section for funding, and it's compiled, and I'll give you access to that. If you want that sooner, just email me. I can send it out to you. Mine is very generic, and I can't guarantee it's up to date. It's just a collection of things that have come my way. Also, I say just explore whatever comes your way and look for environmental health opportunities online. So that's where a lot of our fellowship listing has come through. Student organizations, we have a lot of them at Rollins. I'm going to point out specifically this picture here on the right with the guy on the bicycle. This is from our Rollins Environmental Health Action Coalition, which is our environmentally friendly student group at Rollins. I'm actually the advisor for this group, and it's if you can see this guy on the bike, if you look really closely behind him, there's a pineapple and a banana. So that's because it's a bike blender and it makes smoothies. So it's a man-powered or woman-powered bike blender that we bring to all of our fairs, and social events, and some of the things that SGA has out here on our lawn outside is the famous bike blender. So you can have actually, if you were here for Visit Emery, you might have experienced or even tasted a smoothie made by the bike blender, and you might have even made one yourself. So it's pretty exciting. So REHAC owns that, and they're very active, and a lot of our students in our department are involved in that. So also it says, welcome to the Rollins Garden in the other picture. And we also run a community garden right outside our door. So if you're interested in gardening, REHAC runs the garden outside. And then there's lots of other student organizations for all sorts of specialty groups. I'm not going to go into any of the other ones right now. You can click on our website to look that up. And there will be a student organization fair during orientation that you can learn about all of them. And I'm excited for you to get involved with our groups. And then our certificate program, somebody asked about that. Yes, the certificate is open as an option to you, as any degree student can apply or look into or try and participate in the certificate programs. I can help, talk to you about them, but for the most part, I have you guys go to the certificate program specific web pages and learn more about it. And again, at orientation, there'll be breakout session per certificate, and you can learn about them specifically. And the requirements are all different. I can help support you in figuring out your schedule, how to make things work. But I don't run any of them or endorse any of them specifically. I just know that, yes, some of our students engage in them and really enjoy it. Certificate programs have a bonus of, being able to hone in on a specific topic and show that you're an expert in that. And then also, on the other hand, it has very strict mandates as to what you can take, mostly for your electives, your practicum work sites, as well as your thesis or capstone topic. So that is the drawback of participating in a certificate, is that you have less flexibility with your choices. Okay. Also, start checking your Emery email daily. We will stop using your personal email address as we get closer toward orientation. I don't know the date of that, but it's great just to get in there, make sure it's working. If you have any trouble with it, let me know. You probably already have a lot of mail there. So just try and get that set up if possible. And if for some reason someone else told you otherwise, IT, for example, they're going to trump anything that I say about email. So again, those messages might be sent to your Emery email, but for now we are still using your personal email addresses. But it's exciting when I start seeing emails from you guys from your Emery email. So let me know if you have any challenges with that. Okay, that's so much information, and probably more than you needed for today, but I know that you guys are excited and you have lots of questions. So if you have questions, now's a great time to go ahead and type them into the question box, and I will answer them for you. And as I said, you can always type questions in on our Facebook page after this if you think of them after we hang up, and you can always email me, and I can connect you with whoever it is that you're interested in connecting with. All right, let me see. Okay, any questions? All right, well, last chance. No questions? That's amazing. I just go over so much information, you're completely overwhelmed. I don't know. Okay, oh. All right, well, my question box was working. I don't see any questions coming through. So that's exciting and unusual, but I'm glad that you got what you need. Oh, I got a question. I'm so excited. All right, thanks, guys. Aha. Okay, this is a question. Yeah, so we do have some time to go into it. So what's the difference between capstone and a thesis? That's a good question. So in a nutshell, the thesis is going to be more of your traditional research project. You do have to have a faculty advisor agree to work with you, and they have an agreement process that starts as early as spring of your first year. And then there's different checkpoints throughout the process for each semester to make sure you're making progress. and they will guide you through the whole process. The capstone is more of a practice-based and more flexible format for people who might not necessarily want to do a research-based project, and or not a research-based, but it'd be more of their own research, and it is much more flexible and could be a creative project. So sometimes it's an example of creating a manual for a workplace setting, or create databases for organizations that they might have worked for. That also involves writing a paper and having some research behind what they're doing, but the end product might look a little different, and sometimes it looks very similar. So there are some gray lines between the two projects. Thesis is self-guided, that you enroll in 4 credits in the final semester, and capstone is actually a 4-credit class that you take with a faculty advisor, a faculty instructor. And so the whole project is done within the class, and the thesis, the whole project is really done with you and your thesis advisor, more one-on-one. So we will talk a lot more about that as early as the fall, so you can start thinking about what you'll be doing, and you start doing a planning form as early as spring. But what we want you to explore all of your opportunities and interest areas. So don't worry about it so much this first semester. All right, any other questions? All right, let's see. Okay, so this was about enrolling in other classes across the university. Maybe, for example, like language classes or some other science classes. So yes, as I said, you are able to enroll in other classes across the university. It does require instructor permission. So if you find a language class that you know that you want to continue, oftentimes I will say language classes are not the best classes taken your first year, because they're usually about 4 credits, and that takes a big chunk of your time. But it is possible. So we could talk more about it, but yes, you would have to reach out to the instructor. And with language, there's also a testing feature, and then they would place you and give you permission to take the class. And then I would help you enroll in it, because it's across campus and not falling under Rollins. So that is the case with any class that you would want to take outside of the Rollins School of Public Health. All right, any other questions, you guys? All right, well, you can email me or Facebook me. I appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here. Good luck at registering on Monday. Email me with your questions. If you do email me, sometimes it's helpful if you include your student ID number, especially if you want me to go log into Opus and help you out that way. I will be helping with registration throughout the process. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you here. I look forward to seeing you very soon, and have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Bye, guys.